talk to us.
Prices just went up.
Don't talk to us.
The 19 to 2024 LA Clippers. Why were they a disappointment? When the Clippers acquired Kawhi Leonard in the 2019 offseason, I was extremely excited. One, excited to see a superstar NBA player not decide to team up and join another superstar and create another super team, which he could have, seeing as the Lakers were a landing spot many hoped he'd go, with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and two, because I was a huge fan of the way Kawhi was playing during his one-year run with the Toronto Raptors, bringing them their first and only championship, defeating the juggernaut super team Warriors, on their way to completing the NBA's first three-peat since Shaq and Kobe's Lakers did it in the early 2000s. The way Kawhi controlled those playoff games, in my opinion, needs its own study of how calculating he was, never at all rushed, and always made the winning play even when it meant he had to figure out a miracle. It instantly drew me into being a Kawhi fan, so seeing him willing to take the challenge instead of the easy way out like LeBron and Kevin Durant did in my book made him my kind of player. Then, soon after it was announced they also acquired Paul George from OKC to join him, my excitement was through the roof, as if my team had somehow won the championship. George, I believed at the time, was the best fit Kawhi could ask for. The reason the Raptors were as successful as they were in 2018-19 was because everyone understood their importance and role on the team, including second star Siakam. No team ever wins a championship without all involved understanding what's needed and not needed from them. All the parts put the team and their individual roles before themselves, and it leads to success once you have the right pieces. Example, the Celtics last season. Jason Tatum, as the face of that team, could have easily sulked and started to press too much when Jaylen Brown began to get the push for Finals MVP mid-finals, but he didn't and they won. George, to me, is one of those pieces. He understands his role and will never choose himself over the team or a superstar that's better than him. At the time, Kawhi was, and the fit was like glue. Already on the team was Montrezl Harrell, whose game I liked back then, playing the junkyard dog role but much better, as he could create his own shot and shoot if need be with the attitude the Clippers needed. Mixing perfectly with him was Lou Williams, one of the greatest six men ever, with a heart of steel and also perfect fit with superstars. He and Trez had amazing chemistry off the bench, giving the Clippers a strong second unit. Then you had Patrick Beverley in his prime to defend top guards and bring unmatched energy and enthusiasm, another perfect piece to the mix. The only thing I didn't like was the team having to be coached by who I think is the most overrated coach of all time, who only got worse over the years, in Doc Rivers, and I've been saying that before it became the thing to say about Rivers. Nevertheless, the Clippers were my new adopted team, and I rooted for them to win it all more than any other team in the past 5 years. But as we all know, that never came close to happening outside the 2021 Conference Finals, where they lost to the Suns 4-2 without Kawhi, who had tore his ACL in Game 4 of the semifinal series against the Jazz and has been out ever since. He missed the entire 21-22 season, and the Clippers missed the playoffs altogether. Another first-round loss in 23 to the Suns, then in 24 the same result, with Kawhi playing just 2 playoff games in both years. They added Russell Westbrook in 23 and Harden to begin the 23-24 season along the way, both considered first ballot Hall of Famers. All that and none of it ended with a championship and flat-out disappointment once again. That era officially ended when Paul George signed with the Sixers July 2024, leaving a new era for the team with Harden, Westbrook, and Kawhi going forward, concluding that the last 5 years were a disappointment for these reasons. What happened? Let's talk about it. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth. Let's get it, man. Stunt number 1, Kawhi's health issues. Certainly you've heard in recent days that Kawhi Leonard withdrew from the 2024 Summer Olympics in Paris when the Olympic team and the Clippers determined it'll be best he take the summer off and prepare for the NBA season instead of risking possible injury that could affect him fulfilling his duties of his actual job as a Clipper. Well, this is certainly not the first time and beginning to become a recurring theme in Kawhi's career to this point that he's simply not available enough for the Clippers to reach their full potential. One of the biggest reasons I believe not only the addition of Paul George, who I don't think is a first option in the NBA, Russell Westbrook, whose decision-making leaves much to be desired, and James Harden, who doesn't always exude a winning mentality, could have still worked to bring the Clippers a title was solely on the fact they had a guy in Kawhi that could balance that all and give the team a stable option in close games with his game management skills and ability to get to and hit his shots in the clutch or otherwise. Him being off the floor because of injury allowed all the deficiencies about these players described to greatly affect their chances, and that's exactly the biggest reason the past 5 years have been a disappointment for the team. Kawhi Leonard has played at least 60 games just one time in 5 seasons with the Clippers, that being in 23-24. Since his second year with the team, Kawhi has either ended each season early with an injury or didn't play at all in regards to the 21-22 season. The last 2 playoffs, he's played just 2 games in total each year. Had he been lucky enough to finish seasons and prepare in the summer, instead of constantly rehabbing, maybe the way things turned out for this era Clippers never happens. Stunt number 2, acquiring the wrong pieces. Which leads to the other key pieces that were available in the absence of Kawhi not being the right ones in my opinion to make up for the loss of their leader. Let's not forget the pieces that were also lost along the way that I believe made them a better team. Pieces like Lou Williams, who was traded to the Atlanta Hawks March 2021, and Montrezl Harrell, who left before the same season 2021 to sign with the Lakers because in his words, it didn't seem the Clippers wanted him back bad enough. 2 former 6th Man of the Year in their careers, playing at a high level especially when playing together, and understood their roles on the team, couldn't find the right deal to stay or was traded away. The defense also took a hit losing Patrick Beverley in 2021, traded to Memphis, ultimately ending up with the Timberwolves. Over the years, the Clippers acquired Russell Westbrook and James Harden while keeping Paul George, 3 players that are former stars or superstars in the league, 2 league MVPs, and first ballot Hall of Famers, but also 3 I don't think could lead a team to a championship, which adds to why Kawhi was so important. Paul George has been given the name Playoff P for how he elevates his game in the postseason, mostly with the Pacers and OKC. With the Clippers in the 3 playoffs he's played with the team, only one he had an elevating stat line, that being in 2021. Who can forget his performance in the bubble, literally hitting the side of the backboard and fielding names like Pandemic P or Way Off P that showed George was and is a great player, but in the clutch, as for the Clippers, as a main option, he just didn't have what it took to get the team over the hump. We've all heard about Russell Westbrook, a name given to him in his failed Laker run, where his shooting and decision-making were exposed and received tons of scrutiny, so much so he had to publicly ask for people to stop using the nickname because his kids were being bullied about it in school. In his later years, Westbrook wasn't the same player that could add to what the Clippers needed, mainly because his play style is too erratic and unpredictable in a negative sense. James Harden is one of those guys I see as the perfect individual player. I don't believe he's always locked in and serious about winning during the season or with his off-season preparation. His mentality is not that of a winner, especially when he does things like attempt to block his own teammate. Whether winning the game or not, whether lightening the mood or not, it's a distraction, literally, that has not proven it could still win on 3 different contending teams, 4 including the Clippers. With these pieces together, without Kawhi in important times, the disappointment could be seen from around the corner. Stunt number 3, resetting once again. Speaking more to what all this leads to is another era of having to reset the table and try again for the Clippers. It seems since their existence, this has been the theme. When Kawhi and Paul George came together in 2019, this was supposed to be them building upward. And 5 years later, here they are possibly building down again, or at least having to again reset with the loss of Paul George, their second most talented, and some say most talented player. Don't get me wrong, there is such a thing as addition by subtraction in the NBA that could see James Harden be more comfortable in a bigger role, but also can mean he checks out once again should the team begin the next season poorly and show no signs they can contend, or Kawhi goes down again and the writing is on the wall they won't have the talent. Will he again request a trade? He's done it with his last 3 teams. He and Russell Westbrook could be off the books by the end of next season, or even sooner should Westbrook choose not to opt into this year. Where does that leave the aging Kawhi and the Clippers, who have no young future currently on the roster of promise? Resetting. For a team moving into a new stadium and looking to be from under the Laker thumb, this is a huge disappointment of an ending to an era that began with such promise. All in all, the Clippers have no choice but to roll the dice in hopes Kawhi stays healthy, which keeps the stars around him engaged and confident they could win to at least make something of all they gave up to be competitive. It wouldn't be the first time this team has been at the bottom, but as far as the last 5 years, for these reasons, they were a disappointment. Salute, much respect. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.